Jeremiah Love is a player that you have to keep an eye out on just because of a running back, his versatility, how good he is in the receiving game this year. We haven't seen a running back potentially crack the top three when you just think about it with the Heisman Trophy back there. Jeremiah Love just dominant. If Notre Dame wins out and they're in the college football playoff, Love should be involved in the conversation.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Starts off on a positive note of getting Lamar Jackson back Thursday night, which was great. He threw for 200 yards, did not look rusty at all. He only rushed for 15, but he didn't really need that. Lamar Jackson also threw for 4 touchdowns, 2 of which going to Mark Andrews. So guess who's back and relative again at the tight end position now that Lamar's back? Oh, wait, it's Mark Andrews. No kidding. I mean, the guy just catches touchdowns. It's Lamar's favorite guy in the red zone.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Blue Jays are going to be dangerous for years to come because they have money. They're a fun team. Other players like Guerrero, the Blue Jays are a first-class organization. They treat the players very well. They're first-class complex. As I stated earlier, you can live like across the street from the stadium and there's no drama. You don't have to sit in traffic ever. You have an entire country that buys your jerseys and are big fans of yours.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome to another edition of the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone A. Johnson here as always. And if I can quote one of the great poet laureates of our time, the Jungle Brothers back in the day, stranded on an island, butt naked, hanging loose, with a large cold wooden bowl of freshly squeezed orange juice. Thank you, Tyrone, for getting in there. That's the kind of day we're having right now.
Know that song.
You don't know that song?
No.
Oh, it's one of the classics. It's in the Smithsonian, as a matter of fact. Great day of football yesterday. No particular order. What the F is going on in New York with the New York Giants and Brian Daboll? They have now blown 1, 2, 3 double-digit point leads with less than 5 minutes to go in a game. It's absurd. What you see right there, all 4 of those games, those are games that every other team in the history of football closes out with a dub.
At least one of them.
100% of the time.
At least one of them.
The Giants said, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. And there are times, I believe, as an American man and as a guy that does believe in my right to hunt, that there are certain species on this planet that every once in a while just need to be put out of their misery. And I'm feeling right now like Brian Daboll is the wounded yak on the Serengeti. And you feel bad for the wounded yak. So sometimes you put 2 behind the head and you put him out of its misery. Or you enjoy the lion or the tiger, or pick your favorite, predator animal, just putting the poor yak out of his misery. Or maybe you're driving along the road and unfortunately somebody hits a deer crossing the road, right?
Yeah.
And the deer's like, suffering. So what do? You punch your deer right in the face and you knock him out, put him out of his misery, right?
Okay.
That's Brian Daboll right now. It's over. It's a wrap. You know you're not coming back. I know we've seen great football play out of Jackson Dart, and I want to give Brian Daboll credit for that. He deserves credit for recognizing that he was going to be a star, but he's also the same head coach who calls dedicated running plays for a quarterback that has now 4 different times this season been taken to the blue tent during concussion protocol. Yes. And unfortunately yesterday, when they had the double-digit point lead and were going in for more inside the 20 of the Bears, and that would have ended the game, he's a little reckless. He gets popped, legal hit, and gets knocked out of the rest of the game. In comes Russell Wilson, and you know how that story goes. Not good. So I'm trying to figure out what's the upside of putting Brian Dable through it. Like, put him out of his misery. He knows it's over. The Giants know it's over. Giant fans know it's over. And at this point, having him coach the Giants anymore, especially with the reality that Jackson Dart might not be able to play, at least for a game or two, depending on what we see with the recovery from the concussion. Like, I don't want to watch a guy slowly bleed out. I get no joy out of that. And that's what it would be. So we'll start with the Giants just real quick there. It's over. We all know it's over. He seems like a decent guy. We like fat, sloppy coaches in the NFL. It just hasn't worked out. It hasn't. And he'll get a coordinator job somewhere, and he'll get to enjoy his family during the offseason for a couple months, and be back on the sideline like every other failed coordinator who became a head coach. I should reverse that. Good coordinator who became a failed head coach, goes back to coordinating. He'll be right there. He'll find a young quarterback somewhere, and all will be well for Brian Dable. But not New York. Like, it's over. It's done. Nobody wants to see Brian Dable on the sideline anymore for the New York Giants. But that's not my main focus today, Tyrone.
Well, it's not. How he tried to kill Jackson Dart? No.
No. Look, I'll tell you, you cannot have it both ways. You can't tell the kid, try to stay out of harm's way because he's an aggressive dope, right?
Right.
And we love him for that because he doesn't care about getting hurt. He puts his body on the line. Mm-hmm. But you can't, out of one side of your mouth, say to people, I want Jackson to be smarter. I don't want Jackson to take the type of hits he's been taking, because we all agree with that. And then on the other side of your mouth, call a dedicated run. Now, if he makes a play because the pocket breaks down, nobody's open.
Totally different.
And he takes off.
Totally different.
We understand that, and we understand the risk that comes with that.
Right.
Understandable, and we're good with it. But if you're trying to protect your franchise quarterback and you're about to win a game on the road in blistering conditions against the Chicago Bears, why in the world are you calling for dedicated running plays for the quarterback you're trying to protect?
It doesn't make any sense. And he got his helmet knocked off on a previous play.
Yes, he did.
And he called a dedicated run the next play after he got his helmet knocked off.
For that, if you want to use that as the cause or reason to fire him,
that's my reason.
Great.
To protect Jackson Dart.
The one-loss record's why you're firing him, but the fact that you want to protect him and then you're not protecting him and now you're risking the future of the franchise, that's not going to include you? I'm with you on that.
That's my
100%.
reason. All right. But I know that wasn't your main reason.
Okay. But look, we're in New York. I know the people I see on the street, that's all they want to hear about. What do you want to do with Dable? Fire him. What do I want to do? And I like Brian Dable. He's a good guy. Seems like a likable dude.
Seems like it.
I have an affinity for fat dudes. I I admit that. Some of my favorite men on this planet are fat guys.
All right.
So I'm Rex Ryan, one of my favorite guys of all time.
There you
fat
go.
guy. Right?
Who else?
Well, I don't want
Fats Domino?
Fats Domino.
You a big Fats Domino guy?
I love Fats Domino.
Well, how could you not? Yeah,
Artie Lang, another fat guy. I love fat men.
Artie Lang's had a great run.
I'm here to admit it. I got a thing for fat dudes. That being said, Brian Dable's done. He's dead man walking. And Tyrone's right. What I said I think is right. It's one thing if he scrambles to make a play and gets hurt. We understand that's the nature of the game. And he's obviously a great athlete.
He is an athletic
And
guy.
we see guys like Josh Allen, like Lamar Jackson, like Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
These guys get hurt because they put their body in harm's way. Part of the deal. They turn the ball over because they put their body in harm's way. But when you call for them to run and they get hurt, you can't blame the kid. You said to the kid, we don't trust our running backs, right?
Right.
Because there's no Scattaboo right now because of his injury. So rather than give it to a professional NFL running back, we're going to have our quarterback who represents the next 10 years of our future, and we're going to purposely put you in harm's way by having you run the ball. Because once he starts running, he's got to be who he is.
Yeah.
So
he's a football player.
It's malpractice at the highest level, and Brian Dable is gonzo because of the record more than anything else. But that's not the lead today. The lead today is what in the world happened to your Buffalo Bills? Because the Buffalo Bills, after beating Kansas City, got cocky. And they said, we're so good, we just beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Orchard Park. not only are we not going to make a single move at the trade deadline, and then when we hear criticism for it, we're going to blame other general managers for not being willing to deal in reality and creating Madden-esque trades that we've no interest in. Meanwhile, a lot of other teams got a lot better at the trade deadline, and then the Bills were thinking, we're going to show you, we're going to Miami. And they happen to own the Miami Dolphins.
Normally.
With Josh Allen as their quarterback, the Miami Dolphins like a junior high school team, normally. But then they played the game, and the Bills are in trouble now. Because while the Bills somehow, some way got embarrassed, and that's what that was. They were embarrassed by the Miami Dolphins. The second story today, which we'll get to coming up after a very quick break, is the reality that we're all living in now. And the Buffalo Bills and you diehard Bills fans are living in this reality as well. You're no longer the kings of the AFC East. You've been passed. And you've been passed by a franchise that I dislike with the heat of 1,000 suns. But there's been a passing of the power baton in the AFC East. We'll get into it after the quick break. It's no longer the Bills' division. They've run roughshod over the AFCs for the last 7 years. But there's a new / old sheriff in town, and it pains me to my core. And his name is not Reggie Hammond. Not this version of it. Not this version. His name is Drake May. His name is Mike Vrabel. His name is Robert Kraft. His name is Stephon Diggs. His name, sadly, folks, is the New England Patriots. I hate to say it. They're now the favorites to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC. We'll get into that in just a second. Hope you had a great weekend. This is the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson here as well. We'll see how we did in his picks later on. We had a great show for you. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. We're right here.
We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
No, but the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly, Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You want to throw $12, $13 million at Kiffin? That's always a possibility. Summerall, they lost the other night to, in that matchup to UTSA. Or do you go back to potentially the mad scientist and Nick Saban, give him, complete control of the athletic department and see if he can turn it around? We'll see. But whatever they go, they're going to need a coach to hit the ground running.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
His daughter, she's on the OF.
Okay.
She's on the OF
is
now.
that right?
Yeah, she's on the OF now.
So he's got an OnlyFans daughter and a little son
who says he can beat Curry and LeBron.
And he's coaching a team that was down 72 to nothing.
Keep that dude away from polite society.
Okay, by the way, I'm with you. I didn't know any of that is.
Numerous pops gotta go.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. We're all in trouble because there's a new old sheriff in town in the AFC East. I hate to admit it. It pains me to my core, but you can't deny the fact that the New England Patriots are back. And think about this just real quick in the AFC East. You got Drake May throwing for 270 yards yesterday, a couple touchdowns, one pick. You got Josh Allen in the loss to Miami, throwing for 300 yards, a couple touchdowns, one pick. You have Tua, you're doing what he did for the Miami offense yesterday. And then you have my beloved New York Jets. And the Jets won yesterday.
That's
they beat
right.
the Cleveland Browns,
That's
which
right.
doesn't really count as a win outside of Tyrone picking the Jets, which was mind-bogglingly stupid on Friday. But a win is a win. I don't take that away from you. So you have all these other quarterbacks throwing for 270, 300 yards, etc. Did anybody happen to see what Justin Fields did for the New York Jets? I'm going to tell you what he did. And this is my lot in life. While other teams in my own division, I didn't even go to the conference. I just stayed in the division, have competent quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday was a battle of not even arguably the two worst starting quarterbacks in the entire NFL. Dylan Gabriel, and I'm sorry, Dylan, you cannot play NFL football. And the fact that the Cleveland Browns picked him in the 3rd round, the fact that the Cleveland Browns are still forcing him down Browns fans' throats, because right after that debacle yesterday against the Jets, Kevin Stefanski came out and said, in regards to Dylan Gabriel, quote, "We're going to stick with Dylan." Why? Like, what else? Like, have you seen anything that there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel? But I digress for a second. Justin Fields yesterday, a guy who I've said from day one in the NFL would be a better slot receiver or tailback, and everybody attacked me. Yesterday, he was 6 for 11. That's how much the New York Jets believe in Justin Fields. They allowed him to throw 11 total times, and he threw for a whopping 54 yards. Now, I want you to let that sink in. Starting quarterback in the NFL threw for 54 yards, and 42 of them came on a screen pass. A pass that, no joke, I could make, Tyrone could make, because it's snap, turn, pivot, throw, easy peasy, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, the starting quarterback for the New York Jets, Justin Fields, was 5 for 10 for 12 yards. And somehow, some way, the New York Jets don't announce who their quarterback's going to be every week because they think it gives them a competitive advantage.
Yeah, they're prepared for the backup. So Fields is out there, great. We don't have to watch any film on him.
As bad as Dylan Gabriel is, Justin Fields is worse. Justin Fields completed 6 passes yesterday, and he only threw 11. That's not confidence in a quarterback. That's a coach telling everybody, I don't believe in my quarterback. Now, the Jets got a punt return for a touchdown, a kick return for a touchdown, and somehow, some way, the Cleveland Browns decided to gift the Jets the victory, even though they got the ball back, right?
They did.
And had a chance. And then when the Jets got the ball back and the Browns used all their timeouts and the Jets are not going to snap the ball on 3rd down, what do the Browns do?
Jump off sides.
Jump off sides.
Of course they do.
Game over. Thanks for coming. But at some point, we need to do some type of like graduate level, educational research project into the Browns' decision to stick with Dylan Gabriel again for next week's game. In my lifetime, I don't think there's another example of this that's ever happened. This is like the AI Atlas. We've never seen it before. And after the game, for the Browns to just say, not even arbitrarily, they're saying it like it's the mantra of the team that Dylan Gabriel's playing again next week. I watched a lot of football. Before I became a talk show host, or while I was being a talk show host, early in my career, I traveled with and covered the Cleveland Browns when they benched Bernie Kosar for Todd Philcox. I was in the building when that happened with Bill Belichick. I covered the Philadelphia Eagles for the better part of almost 5 years and saw some, interesting quarterback play, some bad quarterback play, some Ty Detmer quarterback play.
A little Rodney Peete.
Some Ray Rhodes, some Rodney Peete, I saw it all. So I do have some experience covering an NFL team, not just sitting on the couch and watching it, although that's a level of expertise I have as well. I've never seen a quarterback as bad as Dylan Gabriel in conjunction with a franchise that is still going to make him their starter. I've never seen those two things. I've seen bad quarterback play, and then typically a team makes a decision, we need a better quarterback. I've seen incompetent coaching, and then at some point a team decides we need better coaching. In my lifetime, I'm 37 years old, I have never seen an incompetent coach, an incompetent quarterback united at the hip with no end in sight. I don't think it's ever happened in the history of the NFL where a guy who cannot play quarterback and an incompetent coach have been married together and there's no end in sight. There's no plan to replace the coach. There's no plan clearly to replace the quarterback. I've never seen it. And I want to be clear. I'm saying this without mentioning the name Shedeur Sanders because it ain't got nothing to do with him. He doesn't even have to be on this roster for this to be one of the dumbest decisions in the history of the NFL. I don't care if the backup quarterback was 50 years old, 40 years old, black guy, white guy, thin guy, fat guy. Don't matter to me. But Dylan Gabriel is not an NFL quarterback. He's got a weird, noodle arm. I've never seen anything like it. It's almost like he's a poor man's version of Tua turn the ball over, right? Because they're both lefties, so it's an easy comparison.
Both small guys.
He's got it's just weird. It's like it's a wet noodle throwing a football. And if I'm a Browns fan, I'm saying to myself, it doesn't even have to be Shedeur Sanders. Just somebody else. Make Bailey Zappi the starting quarterback. But we have earned the right as fans to get better. We've earned the right for you to treat us better. The Cleveland Browns ownership should be forced to sell. Stefanski should step down as head coach because he's embarrassing himself, and whatever good name he had left, it is out the window. This is such a great exercise in incompetence that we should study this in some type of anthropology class at the highest level of educational institution in this country. Malpractice? This is worse. This is disgusting, and it's unacceptable that the Browns keep forcing it down their fans' throats. Yuck.
Sauce Gardner heading over to the Indianapolis Colts as they go all in on this season and beyond. As I think a lot of people have been noting, that move does not just say, hey, we like what we have this year. It says we like what we have moving forward, and that includes Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for Dallas. What does that decision to bring in Quinnen Williams say? That means they're poorly ran, but we already knew that.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They didn't panic. They played like a championship team. They came back and destroyed them, probably cost Brian Kelly his job at least a week earlier than it might have happened before. But the fact is they are playing great. But like I say, I like the talent level of all those teams. And I think you want to have a little bang for your buck and play around with a team that could slide in. Ole Miss might be that team.
The Bowden Blitz. Only on SportsGrid.
Governor calls you out in the football state. You're out.
And it was so funny, too, because after he fired Kelly on Sunday, right, Woodward released a statement that said that, in effect, that he was still in charge of the athletic department. Well, you didn't check with the governor because apparently he had other plans for the athletic department, and you're not in them.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyron Johnson here as well. So we're all trying to enjoy football over the weekend. We had not one but 2 more gambling scandals that came out over the weekend. One in Major League Baseball. I'll get to that in a second. The other one involving some of your favorite ESPN broadcasters, Stephen A. Smith, Mina Kimes, Dan Orlovsky, Kendrick Perkins, Laura Rutledge.
Yeah.
So 5 of them that are now implicated in this gambling scandal with a company that purported to be a company where you could wager on solitaire.
Yeah.
You know, the card game we all played growing up. And apparently the solitaire company is being sued for almost $700 million and is under a criminal investigation because they allegedly had bots, computers in the game playing against real people, and they recognized what the difference was. So the bots controlled the outcome of the game, made it impossible for you to win. And that's, of course, criminal. It's against the law. And the feds are now going after that company. The problem now is that you have a number of ESPN personalities who decided to get in bed with this criminal organization and start promoting the app as a way for you to have fun by playing solitaire and maybe win money. But there was no chance to win money because there were bots allegedly inside the back end of the game that made it impossible for human beings to win. Only one of the people that I've seen at ESPN has come out to acknowledge the terrible decision. That was Mina Kimes. Now, I'm not sure it was like for you growing up, but my daddy told me, you can figure out if someone's lying to you when they tell you that they're telling the truth, or when they say, let me tell you the truth, or honestly. That's the immediate sign that they're lying to you. Mina Kimes put out a tweet that says, the truth is, I didn't spend any time looking into the whole thing. You see it right there. Oh, so in other words, you just agreed to sign up and market a company and you knew nothing about that company? Nothing at all? You just said, okay, I'll just take the check because it's a decent-sized check? She says it's 100% on me. She says she's embarrassed. She says it's a mess up. But she also went on to say that she didn't make a nickel off of it. And if she does get paid, she'll distribute that money like to charity or something like that. Well, that's a problem because now that you know they're being accused of being a criminal organization, ignorance is not a defense in the law. I learned that the hard way as well. If you do get paid for it and you take that money, it doesn't matter who you distribute it to. Now you're a part of the crime, right? Because now you've accepted ill-gotten gains. And I think the public does need to know because they trust these broadcasters and make gambling decisions based on what these broadcasters have to say. And you'd like to think ESPN, I know this is a joke, has some level of integrity with who they put on the air. But now I do think we need to find out from the feds, well, how much money were these broadcasters paid and what was their role? Because here's the next step of this. If it turns out that part of the marketing deal that these 5 ESPN broadcasters signed up for was that they got a piece of the action. Even if they claim they had no idea it was criminal, ignorance is not a defense under the law. So she claims she wasn't paid yet. And if she gets paid, she'll just give the money away. But what if part of the payment is you get a percentage of all the money we make off of your viewers that become members of the Solitaire website? Now you're a party to the crime, right?
Yes.
And my gut is, I don't know this as a fact, that that's what the deal was. We'll pay you X amount of bucks up front for you to promote us, and then anybody that comes through you or your hashtag that loses, we'll give you a piece of the action. Now, she's the only one I've seen that has commented on it, so I give her credit for that. She's trying to get in front of it. But if that's what the deal was, that you get a piece of all the action that you bring to the table, and they're running a fraud, a scam, a pyramid, Ponzi, whatever it might be, multi-level marketing scam, well, then you're a partner to that scam, and the feds are coming for you too.
Now, I believe all the hashtags went through Stephen A. Smith first.
He's on the hook too.
So let me ask you, I understand what you said about the ignorance as far as the law part. Do you think any of them knew possibly that these games were rigged?
I'd like to assume they didn't. I'll give them that benefit of the doubt. I don't think they knowingly got in bed with a company that was committing an obvious scam. They also decided not to do any research into it, or their agent didn't do any research into it. But it's a real problem because the company's under investigation for rigging the outcome of games. And now you guys are supporting it, promoting it to your followers, meaning you're setting people up knowing they can't win. And it's not easy enough to just go, oh, my bad, I didn't know. If I do get any money, I'll give it away. No. Number one, you can't accept the money. Number two, the money should go back to the innocent people that got scammed.
Right.
Not anybody else. So it'd be interesting to see how deep the feds take their investigation into the ESPN personalities. But I can tell you this, ESPN, from what it was 15 years ago, 10 years ago, has fallen off the edge of a deep, deep cliff because it is an embarrassment now. And the fact that 5 of their broadcasters now involved in what could be a near $1 billion scam, that should be a problem for ESPN from an integrity standpoint. We'll get to the baseball one next. Hang on.
Jeremiah Love is a player that you have to keep an eye out on just because of a running back, his versatility, how good he is in the receiving game this year. We haven't seen a running back potentially crack the top 3 when you just think about it with the Heisman Trophy back there. Jeremiah Love just dominant. If Notre Dame wins out and they're in the college football playoff, Love should be involved in the conversation.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Starts off on a positive note of getting Lamar Jackson back Thursday night, which was great. He threw for 200 yards, did not look rusty at all. He only rushed for 15, but he didn't really need that. Lamar Jackson also threw for 4 touchdowns, 2 of which going to Mark Andrews. So guess who's back and relative again at the tight end position now that Lamar's back? Oh, wait, it's Mark Andrews. No kidding. I mean, the guy just catches touchdowns. It's Lamar's favorite guy in the red zone.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly, Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Blue Jays are going to be dangerous for years to come because they have money. They're a fun team. Other players like Guerrero, the Blue Jays are a first-class organization. They treat the players very well. They're first-class complex. As I stated earlier, you can live like across the street from the stadium and there's no drama. You don't have to sit in traffic ever. You have an entire country that buys your jerseys and are big fans of yours.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I don't want to spend too much time on the baseball scandal, but I got to give it to you real quick. 2 pitchers, Major League Baseball, one of them an investigation going back to 2013. Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz indicted by prosecutors in the Eastern District of New York, which is Brooklyn, with charges involving sports betting. As the story goes, it's an allegation right now, if you believe it, that literally because you can do in-game wagering on baseball, you can bet things like, is the next pitch a ball? Is the next pitch a strike? Does it hit the batter? You can even bet on, and this was a new one to me, and I thought I was really on top of all the gambling stuff, you can bet on the speed of the pitch. I never knew that one. I guess it makes sense. Why not? You can bet on
curveball,
everything else. So the allegations are that gamblers were wagering 6 figures on the outcome of individual pitches, and then the payback to Clase and Ortiz was anywhere from, I think, $4,000 to $7,000 if they did what they were asked to do.
Yeah.
And apparently there's text messages going back and forth. Look, it seems like the feds probably have them dead to rights. They get their day in court. Their lawyers have already denied it at all. But if we're literally going to now try to fix the outcome of a pitch, and one of the bets was the next pitch will be over 95 miles per hour, which is not anything new. Like we see that from every pitcher in every game. That's crazy to me. That's not like I'm going to walk a guy.
Right.
That's not like I'm the batter. I'm going to strike out no matter what happens on this at bat, which I do think happens, with, Giancarlo Stanton a lot because he swings at stuff that makes no sense he's ever swinging at. but like to actually wager your money on over 95 miles per hour, under 95, ball strike, and then I guess in one of the examples, I think with Clase, he was supposed to throw a ball on a particular pitch to that center fielder for the Dodgers, Paget. All right, and the ball's like a way outside low slider, okay? Mm-hmm. and Paget swings at it, and it messes up the bet. They lost the bet because Paget wasn't in on it, allegedly, and he swung the bat at a bad pitch. So they put all this money on he's going to throw a ball. The dude swings at it and misses, so it's a strike.
What can I do?
So the bet didn't cash.
Yeah, can't do it.
Which to me would be a pretty good defense to I wasn't doing anything untoward because I threw a strike. Now, it wasn't really a strike. The guy swung at a bad pitch.
Right.
But it's going to be interesting, and I hate to do this, and I'm not doing it like for clicks and views and that stuff. I know it just comes with the territory. But one of these investigations, like I said, goes back to 2023. The other one was from this season, earlier in 2025, and the player was suspended while they were investigating whether or not they could prove that he was, fixing pitches so the gamblers could make money. But again, it brings me back to the big one. These scandals and the length of the investigation and the details they're getting into with, I'm no joke now, how fast was a pitch thrown? That now becomes an actionable assault on a player's integrity. And yet the Shohei Ohtani story disappeared. And if you remember again, when Ipe, the translator, first spoke publicly about the scandal, his first comment to, I think it was an ESPN reporter, was, Ohtani knew what I was doing. He sent the money to bail me out. 24 hours later, when Ohtani's lawyers got involved, it went from, I misspoke, he had no idea, I stole the money, and very quickly did a plea deal, and he's sitting behind bars right now for like 4.5, 5 years. And again, maybe Ohtani's clean as a whistle. I hope for the sport and for him he is. But every time I see the length of the investigation with these other lower level, less widely known players, in this case Ortiz and Clase, I'm saying to myself, it seems interesting that they literally broke down a single pitch in a game in which he might have thrown 90 pitches and figured out that there was money on the line on the speed of a pitch. But with Ohtani, it went from Ohtani knew, Ohtani didn't know, Ohtani's clean, the interpreter's in prison, let's go win a World Series. And we've forgotten about it like it never happened. I want to be very clear. I'm hoping he is clean. I'm hoping the story we've been told is accurate. It just seems somewhat fishy to me that we're breaking down a single pitch in a game in April or May, and what was the speed of that pitch. And if they got him, they got him. I'm not saying it's not important, it is. It's integrity again. But over here, with what would be the biggest gambling scandal in the history of professional sports, it went from he knew, he didn't know, peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter, let's forget it ever happened, Ohtani's clean, let's go win a World Series.
It's crazy.
It's just weird, no?
And the other part is the amounts. Now, obviously, people should go to YouTube, go to the podcast, and get your interview with the bookie that now is, I think at this point,
he's in federal prison right now.
Federal prison for it. He got a year and a day.
Yeah, he'll be out in the spring.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the amounts of money. Meanwhile, they have this down to somebody paid. Now, it's a lot of money relative, but not compared to what Ohtani's interpreter was doing.
Right.
That Ortiz is now maybe banned for the game. Over $1,400 basically.
Right.
They found that someone spent $13,000 on one pitch. His cut was only $1,400. Gone from the sport.
Right. And he was going to make over $20 million this upcoming year. So it's just weird to me. Again, I hate to be that guy every time this comes up. When in baseball, I'm going to be that guy. Because you're talking about, still wrong, $1,400 versus $150 million. It's a huge difference. One of them they kept going after until they indicted him. The other one, we just dropped the investigation and didn't look into it any further. A little fishy. A little fishy. All right, back to the NFL. Because there's a sad reality that I'm living in as a New York Jet fan, that Dolphins fans are living in right now. And sadly, if you find people in Buffalo, you're living in it too. And that's the reality, that the Patriots are really good. The Patriots aren't going anywhere. The Patriots right now, I suppose, with the Indianapolis Colts, who won again yesterday in overtime out in Berlin, in what was actually a very entertaining game, And Jonathan Taylor ran for like 300 yards in the game. And the Colts are a really good football team. But let's not deny the facts here and what's sitting right in front of our faces. The New England Patriots are all the way back. They're all the way back. They got a young stud quarterback. They got a really competent head coach. They got a guy in Josh McDaniels who's been one of the best offensive coordinators, and it's not just because he had Brady. We're learning that now because he's doing it with Drake May. They've got a little swagger to them. They beat bad teams routinely. And then yesterday, and I thought this was the litmus test for the Patriots. We talked about it last week. New England going on the road against a really good Tampa Bay team with a really good defense, and of course Baker Mayfield, who's a more proven commodity than the youngster in Drake May.
Oh, yeah.
And while it was competitive for about a half, to be fair, New England was clearly better. Like, New England dominated. And I know they get the late touchdown that sealed it, so the outcome of the game, maybe score-wise, wasn't as indicative as how close the first three quarters were. And I give, Tampa competed and fought back. That's what they do. But New England is here for real. And that pains me to my core. Because I, as a Jet fan, had to suffer the indignity of playing against Tom Brady for 2 decades. And for 2 decades, outside of a couple years with Rex Ryan, I knew going into every season, I can't beat the New England Patriots. I'm going to watch them celebrate AFC championship games and Super Bowls and division titles. And I thought, and I celebrated their demise. When they drafted Mac Jones, I had a parade because I was like, yes, the Wicked Witch is dead. The Jets can win a division. And then along came Josh Allen in Buffalo, and I recognized, man, now the Bills are the dominant team. I can't beat the Bills. And now the Bills look like shells of themselves. And who's all the way back? You would have thought at some point maybe the Dolphins make a run. You would have thought at some point maybe the Jets get it right. And while Buffalo's struggling, it's the freaking Patriots.
Again.
Right now, today, I'm going to tell you this. The Patriots are probably at the top of my power rankings when we do it on Wednesday. And it sickens me to my stomach that the Patriots are back on top and the New York Jets have a quarterback that completed 5 passes.
We now have to figure out if they will be in the playoffs. They're the Super Bowl favorite and have shorter odds to miss the postseason as you and I sit here right now.
Right, but let me ask you this. Do you feel after this 5-4 record, 9 weeks, 10 weeks of the regular season, that their defense is as dominant as it was last year?
But the offense is better.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly, Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You want to throw $12, $13 million at Kiffin? That's always a possibility. Summerall, they lost the other night to, in that matchup to UTSA. Or do you go back to potentially the mad scientist and Nick Saban, give him, complete control of the athletic department and see if he can turn it around? We'll see. But whatever they go, they're going to need a coach to hit the ground running.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
His daughter, she's on the OF.
Okay.
She's on the OF.
Is that right?
Yeah, she's on the OF.
So he's got
now.
an OnlyFans daughter and a little son
who says he can beat Curry and LeBron.
And he's coaching a team that was down 72 to
Keep
nothing.
that dude away from polite society.
Okay, by the way, I'm with you. I didn't know any of that is.
Numerous pops gotta go.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyron Johnson here. Some news and notes from a very, very busy weekend. It's one of the problems only doing an hour.
Yeah.
Is that just on Mondays, there's so much stuff you want to get to and comment on and talk about, and you just run out of time. So let me get a bunch of stuff in right now. You know it's bad for the Buffalo Bills when, first and foremost, I give them credit. They went down to Miami in droves. Like half that stadium were Bills fans. And, of course, you get embarrassed by the Miami Dolphins. So show the video. Bills fans just duking it out with each other. Well, and part of that's because Dolphins fans don't give a rat's ass anymore about football, so they ain't going to fight you. And Bills fans are like, this sucks. We lost to the Dolphins. Dolphins fans aren't cocky or arrogant. They don't want to fight, so let's just beat the hell out of each other. I kind of like that, though.
But you go all the way. I don't want to go down to a Miami prison, though. I'm too far from home.
Watch, as this video goes one more time, one dude shows up with a stick. Watch this. Just watch for 1 second. All right, we're fighting a little bit. Slow punches. Watch in the background. Eventually, a couple right hands.
Yeah.
Rabbit
punch to the back of the head.
And then on the left part of your screen,
I'm glad he didn't use it. You can't now escalate it to a weapon.
I brought a stick.
How did he get that into the? How did he get it into the?
I assume it was a walking stick.
Somebody's cane. You can't let those in.
I have no idea. Meanwhile,
the Dolphins were giving away walking
the New York Jets play at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah.
And I've spent many a Sunday there slapping a pig for good luck before a Jet game or even a Giant game.
Slapping a pig.
It's a good luck thing I do. I only do it once a year for each team. We go out there, we get a whole pig, and we spank the pig for good luck, and then we eat the pig.
Does that help the flavor?
It's not animal cruelty. It's like you eat it.
Yeah, does it help the
it's
flavor
finger
at all?
looking good.
All right,
It's
just
what
wanted
it
that
is.
smack, yeah.
So I want to show you how excited Jets fans were before yesterday's game. That's no joke. That's 2 hours before game time. That's how excited.
You can stroll right in. You can stroll right in.
Dude, it's the best parking lot in the business.
What's with some of those people that park so far away?
Yeah.
Well, these one of those people, I don't want anybody hitting my car. They want type people. Why you can park way
I'm
closer.
not even kidding. That's 2 hours before kickoff at MetLife Stadium.
Come on.
Yeah, in New Jersey yesterday. They were playing the Cleveland Browns, to be fair.
Yeah.
And again, our quarterback, Justin Fields, was 6 for 11.
Game manager.
Like, no joke. They only trust him to throw 11 passes. He only completed 6 of them for 54 yards, and 42 came on a screen pass to Breece Hall. So now you know why I guess the Jets had to raise ticket prices for next year, because no one's going. Speaking of New York, and I don't like making this show New York-centric. Try to avoid that if I can. But the owner of the New York Mets, Steve Cohen, who's worth like $18 billion. A
lot of money.
He apparently bought a solid gold toilet at one point, and I assume he never used it, but he's trying to sell it, which is just weird to me because he doesn't need the money, but he's selling a golden toilet for $10 million, which just is another announcement of, I'm rich, you're not. And kind of offensive, and that's like icky to me that you would brag that you have a $10 million toilet and try to sell. But I tell you what I do like. It's not toilet related at all, but I'm a big Marcus Freeman guy at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And I told you he'd stay at Notre Dame. He's going to stay at Notre Dame. I told you Lane Kiffin was staying at Ole Miss. He got an extension. He's staying at Ole Miss. So I'm right.
All right.
But I got to give the kids at Notre Dame a little credit for what they did on the field. Did you see this?
No.
You guys, you want to show this real quick? Yeah. It was snowing. It was snowing in South Bend. That's penis, is what that is.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what that is. That's what we call in the business a snow penis. Which I'm sure is sacrilegious. Like, if that was at BYU, dudes would be expelled.
Oh, yeah, you're not allowed to do. Absolutely not.
At Notre Dame, it's frowned upon, but you don't get expelled because of, like, pretty good artwork.
This is pretty good artwork. That's something a lot of people put on people's cars when it snows.
Yes.
And then you got to come out there and you now have to touch the penis.
Why is there a penis on my hood?
Well,
because it snowed.
Go ahead, clean it up. You got to do it. You can't leave it. You know, real fast on that gold toilet, real fast if you don't mind. Right now, it's $128.91 a gram. It might be a play to buy and melt down the toilet.
Oh, like it's a good investment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Those
how,
at an all-time high.
I don't know how much weight there is in the toilet, but
gotta be a lot.
I'm sure there's wealthy dudes who are trying to do the math like you're doing.
It's 128,000, almost 129,000 per kilogram.
Yeah.
Now, how many kilograms is a toilet?
I have no idea.
I think it might be a deal at 10 million just fiscally.
Well,
so
let me see
anybody
it.
out
Hold
there
on.
who has the money, not you, Craig.
See what I got.
You know, you've been through some things. But there are.
I got I got $4.
Hold on.
I got $4.
I think I have $10
You think
as well.
he takes layaway? Hey, Steve, here's the deal. I'll give you a $4 down payment. I'm going to melt the gold toilet, sell the gold off. I'll pay
boom.
you with the proceeds.
There you go.
By the way, not the worst business idea I've ever heard of. And then, do I have time to show one more or no?
Yeah.
Oh, I got plenty of
tons of
time.
time.
Oh, great. This is great. All right. A little soccer snow. A little fun in the snow, soccer style. I'm just going to show it to you because I like bicycle kicks. As you know, I played with Pele, and he taught me how to do the famous bicycle kick.
How are you 37 and you played with Pele? Anyway.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
That's great.
Seems like a lot of fun for the guy with the bicycle kick, but everyone else is just freezing cold.
And the crowd. Yeah, I know they play soccer year-round, kind of, sort of, but
And then it brings me to Tyrone's picks from the weekend. He had 2 college games. He had an unbelievable pro game. How'd we do?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I went 3-0.
Nice.
It started off with Georgia minus the 9.5 at Mississippi State. For the first time this year, Georgia went out there and administered a beating.
Yeah, Mississippi State was like a high school team out there. That wasn't even a fun game to watch. It was a blowout.
And that's big for the playoff going forward. Georgia might be all the way back to being Georgia.
Yeah, they're top 5, right?
Yeah, they're top 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, Iowa, Oregon. That was actually for people that watched it, it turned out to be a very good game. Went right down to the wire, and Oregon has a walk-off field goal.
But they didn't cover the 6.5.
They didn't cover. And then, of course, the squad that I believed in. Justin Fields, 2 words, game manager. Okay? Don't ask him to do too much. He manages the game, takes care of the ball, and they not only cover, they win the game against the Browns.
The Jets have now won. The Jets. So Tyrone goes 3-0, which is awesome. If you follow his picks, he's now 21-8 on the season, which is absurd and amazing. So knock on wood, he keeps that going. But I will say this. That ain't called game manager.
Game manager.
That's called the coach doesn't believe in you, and he's not going to let you throw the football. And thank God we got 2 special teams touchdowns because that was a battle of 2 of the most just incompetently bad football programs in the entire NFL. Yeah. And again, someone's going to have to explain to me why they've already announced that Dylan Gabriel is starting again next week. I just don't get it. We'll wrap it after this.
Jeremiah Love is a player that you have to keep an eye out on just because of a running back, his versatility, how good he is in the receiving game this year. We haven't seen a running back potentially crack the top 3 when you just think about it with the Heisman Trophy back there. Jeremiah Love just dominant. If Notre Dame wins out and they're in the college football playoff, Love should be involved in the conversation.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Starts off on a positive note of getting Lamar Jackson back Thursday night, which was great. He threw for 200 yards, did not look rusty at all. He only rushed for 15, but he didn't really need that. Lamar Jackson also threw for 4 touchdowns, 2 of which going to Mark Andrews. So guess who's back and relative again at the tight end position now that Lamar's back? Oh, wait, it's Mark Andrews. No kidding. I mean, the guy just catches touchdowns. It's Lamar's favorite guy in the red zone.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Fly, Pelican, more like grounded Pelican. The Pelicans are 0-6 to start the season. Their main guys aren't their main guys. And it comes to a point where, what do you do if you are Joe Dumars and the leadership of New Orleans?
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Blue Jays are going to be dangerous for years to come because they have money. They're a fun team. Other players like Guerrero, the Blue Jays are a first-class organization. They treat the players very well. They're first-class complex. As I stated earlier, you can live like across the street from the stadium and there's no drama. You don't have to sit in traffic ever. You have an entire country that buys your jerseys and are big fans of yours.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I want to end the show talking about quarterbacks, okay? Number one, watching last night's debacle. That was another horrendous football game. Reminded me of Thursday night's game. It was just unwatchable football. Yeah, congrats to the Chargers. You know, I'm a big Harbaugh guy, so good for them. They're a really good team, going to be really tough out when they run the ball well. Aaron Rodgers looked done. Aaron Rodgers looked completely out of it, non-competitive, disinterested. And I know he's not. And I know the Steelers, by a game now, are still in first place. We'll get to the Ravens in a second. But if I'm a Steeler fan and I watched that game last night, the loss is one thing. I accept that the Chargers are a very good team, even though it felt and sounded like a Steeler home game because there aren't any Chargers fans at SoFi. But I've got a quarterback that looked every bit of his age last night and a quarterback that looked disinterested and non-competitive. That safety he took early on was a joke. Like no self-awareness, no game awareness, no defensive awareness. I expect that out of Dylan Gabriel. I do. I don't expect that kind of performance out of Aaron Rodgers. And if I'm a Steelers fan right now, and I could hear it in the background, you can hear it. You hear that? You hear that? That's the Baltimore Ravens coming to get some. And I told you the Ravens were going to go on a winning streak. They've now won 3 consecutive games. They go to Minnesota. They beat the Vikings. And now they're a game out. Now, I think they're both going to win because they have easy games on paper coming up this weekend. Yeah. But the Steelers are looking in their rearview mirror, and they're not going to like what they see. Because here come the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Action Jackson, and your quarterback looked like a disinterested old man who had never played football at the level he used to play. I would be distraught right now if I'm a Steeler fan because I see the handwriting on the wall. The Ravens are winning that division, and the Steelers, if it keeps going the way it looked last night, not only are they going to blow the division, they're going to blow the postseason. There is no guarantee right now, the way Aaron Rodgers played last night, that the Pittsburgh Steelers are making the postseason.
And it gets even worse for them because Lamar's still in his physical prime.
Yep.
If the Steelers don't win the division this year, when will they? Many Steelers fans upset that they went a defensive tackle 4 picks before Jackson Dart got taken, and now they don't have a young quarterback. Steelers fans are upset for now and the future.
Yeah, and that's going to be the pick everybody missed the way Jackson Dart looks. So let me continue with quarterbacks. At some point, are we going to recognize that Sam Darnold's really, really good and the Seahawks are really, really good? And I say that, and this is a trick question. Seattle scored 44 points yesterday in blowing out the Jacoby Brissett Arizona Cardinals. Don't cheat. If you had a guess, because I think he's in the running for MVP.
Yeah.
That's how good Sam Darnold has been. And it's a continuation of what we saw last year in Minnesota. We'll get to them in a second, all right? What do you think Sam Darnold did just generically? They scored 44 points yesterday. If you had to guess his numbers real fast, what do you think his numbers were?
I know the defense scored a touchdown, so I'd say 303 touchdowns.
I would say the same thing.
Just guessing. Yeah.
Now, the defense actually scored a couple touchdowns yesterday.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold yesterday was 10 for 12.
That's all he needed to do.
He didn't have to do anything yesterday because the defense scored so many times. He was 10 for 12, $178, and 1 touchdown and 1 pick. But Sam Darnold is the real deal, which brings me back to Minnesota. J.J. McCarthy is not a good quarterback. I'm going to give him some level of grace. He's a rookie. Essentially, he missed all last year with the meniscus and all that, right? But he's essentially a rookie, right? At some point, isn't someone in Minnesota going to have to raise their hand and go, my bad, I messed up on that one?
Yes.
Because Sam Darnold has led the Seahawks to the best record in the AFC at 7-2. He's killing it for Seattle right now, and they're in first place in the West, okay?
Yeah, up there with the Rams,
and deservedly so with the Rams.
Yeah.
San Fran loses yesterday. They've dropped back down to a wild card spot. How does Minnesota, how does the front office and Kevin O'Connell go do meet and greets with fans when they said no to Sam Darnold, who's killing it again in Seattle with a completely different coaching staff and in first place in the NFC West. And you sold your fans that J.J. McCarthy was the better replacement than Sam Darnold. What? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. And they'll go with, well, he's on a rookie contract, and we could build a better roster with him.
You won 14 games last year, and the guy threw for 5,000 yards. And you said, we don't want you because we have J.J. McCarthy? And now he's doing the same exact thing in Seattle. Real quick, if you have YouTube, sorry, not sorry, no football for you tonight. We've got Green Bay, we've got Philly. Slight lean for me to Green Bay. Coming off the bad loss to Carolina, where their offense stunk. Philly off the bye week, and a great win going into the bye week. Should be a great game. I like Green Bay tonight.
Yeah, I like the Eagles in a close one.
We'll find out and talk about it tomorrow. Have a blessed day.